we're on a half day today, so I'm gonna go out and do some messages. We need to go to the shops, we need to go to doctors, we need to pick up a post office parcel, so we need to do some grocery shopping as well. So let's go and do that. Fun times ahead. I hate grocery shopping, as you all know, but we gotta do those other things as well. So let's get to it. One of the main things that I was thinking about recently is how to essentially cope with having like a bad day at work, where especially when you're in medicine, but also just in general. It can always be a bit of a struggle when you're not sort of enjoying it or having fun on that particular day, and it's kind of frustrating for you. Bit of traffic. So most of the time it's kind of fun and you actually get a lot out of it. Work that is, learning heaps, getting to, you know, increase like your knowledge and everything like that. But very occasionally you might have a bad day for a number of different reasons, to be honest. Maybe it's just, you know, that you made a mistake, maybe you're feeling tired, maybe you're feeling sick. Whole bunch of reasons why the day might not go to plan. Are you gonna let me in, guys? Oh, sick. No worries, bro. Just cut me off and we'll go from there. So the main thing that I think of is stuff outside of work to get me through the day, or someone to talk to at work. Like having your network of people where, I don't think that was actually properly shut. I was like, why does it feel like there was sounds making in the car, there was noise, I don't know, it just like wasn't right. I think you know when your door's not shut properly, and I just had that feeling right then. So I'm glad it's shut now. But yeah, I think it's really important to have a strong network at the hospital. It might not be people who are in your immediate unit, but I know when I'm working and I need a break, I always just find a friend and go grab a coffee. There's nothing that urgent apart from like a code blue or a met call that you can't take 5 minutes to take a coffee break for. Because often I like to just get everything done so I can break at the end of the day. But I guess the caveat with that is, like, sometimes you get home and you're actually so exhausted, so wrecked, that you're just in survival mode. Like, you're just like, I don't know, having dinner, watching TV, being like a zombie, and not actually doing fun stuff and your hobbies and enjoying things. You're literally like working, recuperating. Well, I mean, working till exhaustion, then you go home, recuperate and recover, sleep, and then you're back at it the next day. And it might be like that for a couple of days in the week sometimes. It's not a great feeling. I know last night I felt like that because I essentially had a really busy day. We were at clinic all day, we had our big meeting, I'm on call, I'm trying to see new referrals, holding the phone. You can never fully relax. There's always jobs to do, jobs from clinic, new referrals to watch out if there's new tests that come through, or just people to see, and then you present them to the consultant. You need to make a plan, write up all their admission notes and stuff. Even if, like, because I mean obviously I'm working in surgery at the moment, if they need to have an operation that needs to be done, then there's more things that need to be sorted apart from just writing up the medications and writing the documentation on the admission note. You need to speak to the anesthetics doctors to make sure they're happy to anesthetize this person for an operation. You need to add them to the elective booking system or the emergency booking system list. You need to actually consent them for their operation, make sure they understand the risks and the benefits for the operation, what could happen, what is likely to happen, how the operation goes, answer any questions, update the family, especially if they're older patients, and get them involved. Yeah, I don't know, there's just like a lot of different things that inevitably will need to be done if you are doing things to the patient, like a big operation or like a big procedure. So it takes time, to be honest, and yeah, sometimes just having that 5 to 10 minute break for a coffee with a friend, or I don't know, even if it's just to like watch a quick YouTube video, or go to the bathroom, or take a walk around the block. Just do it. Honestly, just do it. Just a reset during the day will make the longevity of the day better, but also I think it's just like, you don't want to work and work and work all day and then get home and crash. I think I want to be like able to do things when I come home, like some random hobby that I'm interested, or watching a possible like video, or learning a new skill, or I don't know, I want to like actually enjoy my time outside of work as well. So taking frequent breaks during it will actually help you with your longevity during the work time and after work to get some stuff done. So yeah, I guess the separate point from that is like how you actually deal with negative feedback and criticism, and actually like sort of bad people at work. And like, believe it or not, medicine is just like any other specialty. There are people who are nice and lovely and friendly, and there are some people who you might catch them on a bad day, or they might have difficult personalities to deal with. And yeah, medicine is not dissimilar to other specialties. Oh, I wonder how sick this person is. Thanks for that. I wish I could do that and just go through this red light. Sad. Well, it's green now, so that's okay. Wasn't too long of a wait. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, medicine is just like any other specialty or any other workplace. There are people who you get on with well and people who you don't get on with well, and it's just the nature of the beast, to be honest. So able to like adapt to the situation. I call it like moldability, and moldability is different from, you know, just putting up with terrible feedback or terrible like insults, or you know, just like not a nice work environment. That's different. Like there's personalities to manage, and then there's actually stuff to call out, and they're very different things. So I think making the distinction between them is good, and it will actually help you in the long run a lot. Alright, we need to find a park. We found a park, which is nice. Sweet. I think one of the main things is being able to recognize if you've had a terrible experience at work, and knowing who to talk to, what to do about the situation, and how to actually manage it. A lot of the time you actually may not know what to do in a situation that's happened, and I think just talking to people is probably the best way of going about it. So I'll give an example to sort of say what I'm talking about. There was one time in internship, my first year as a doctor, so 2 years ago, I had a really bad experience with one of my senior colleagues, one of my registrars, and they essentially were like getting quite frustrated at me. It was at the end of the day, they asked me, did the scan get protocoled, which essentially like, did the radiology team approve it? Did the scan get done for this patient? And I was like, well, I tried to. The radiologist said probably not. I don't think it'll be the best thing for this patient. They got annoyed at me for not being able to do that, and then they actually tried to do it themselves and talk to the radiology team. They actually said no to that request as well, from me as well as from the registrar. Anyways, that's beside the point. Had a difficult experience after that encounter, and essentially had a lot of criticism that wasn't actually very constructive. And I guess when you get that from a senior colleague who you work with, you start to reflect and you think, well, is this actually true, whatever they're saying? Like, they say stuff like that's quite insulting, quite negative, and you're like, well, this is terrible, this is shit. And you're sort of in shell shock, but there was nothing constructive about it, which is the worst thing. And I guess you feel really bad in the moment. And I had one of my mates come in who I was working with after, and we just essentially spoke about it, to be honest. And I had a number of chats with my supervisor, another registrar who was working in a different team alongside, and a whole bunch of friends. And I was actually super supportive, because they were actually a really good sounding board, but also a really good way to hear my concerns and actually offer some feedback and strategies to go forward in it. And essentially, I think it boiled down to it being a long, hard, difficult day, understaffed, under-resourced, and a lot of jobs to do that essentially culminated in me being the punching bag for the frustration of a few things. But yeah, I mean, interns are meant to solve every single problem in the world. There's no point berating them for, really no reason at all. And I guess more broadly speaking, there's no point berating someone for the sake of berating them. You need to offer feedback in a constructive way. Because I guess when you look back at it from the outset, you think, well, why is this person saying these things? And does it come from a place of wanting to improve you and wanting for you to get better? And if there's no element of that, then it's very hard for you to actually take anything from it. I can do something with, hey, next time you take blood, I would do it this way. This is why you failed that cannula. This is why you failed that catheter insertion. Instead of charting this medication first, maybe consider A, B, and C. Or when you present a case, I would actually do this, not that, what you did. So you're giving feedback in a way that helps them for a future situation or a future encounter. Compare that to what I was told, where I was like, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, I know heaps of people smarter than you. Essentially, what else? It's been really difficult with you. All these things that, like, there's no movement. It's literally just saying it how it is, and just essentially plain out insults. So whenever someone says something to you, yes, it's easy to get trapped and get a blindfold on, and not a blindfold, those things that horses wear when they race so they don't see anything. Tunnel vision? I don't know. Obviously it's not called tunnel vision, but blinkers maybe, blinders, whatever it is. It's easy to put the blinkers on and just focus on the content that they're saying. But take a step back, look where they're coming from. Is it actually intended to help you, or is it intended to just put you down? And once you work out that, it's easy. I think it's easier then to be able to either brush it off and just leave it as it is and report it. And if you need to escalate to other people and talk to more senior people, I would do that and encourage that wholeheartedly. Or if it's from a place of constructive criticism and wanting for you to improve, then you need to actually work out how that actually helps you, and maybe is it the best thing that they've said, or maybe could they have said it in a different way. So it's interesting stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna go to this little appointment now, and then I will be back soon. So yeah, let's do that. Got that sorted. Got my little blood test that I needed. Should we take this off? Maybe it doesn't look cool. So I think that's like just the basics of like, you know, recognizing good and bad feedback, and I guess how to actually cope with having a bad day. I mean, can't really just let it simmer, and it's just gonna get way worse. I think that's the takeaway. Every time you get this question in like an interview, like, or you notice that your colleague so-and-so has not been doing so well, they're not doing that many jobs at work, they might be looking down or sad or not really contributing to the workload. What do you do? Well, I mean, obviously the first answer is don't do nothing, and you got to do something to actually help this person, whether you're close to them or not, and that'll depend about how you manage it. So if you are a bit close to them, maybe it's something like having a chat to them, or maybe it's actually escalating to one of their friends or a senior colleague or your supervisor, and actually trying to work out what the best thing is for that person. Maybe they need some external help, or maybe they need some time off work, something like that. And just figuring out what the best thing is for that person usually involves listening and talking to other people to sort of get a good perspective, and that's what you do. Like, that's what that person needs to do. And if you're in that situation, then that's definitely what you need to do. Talk to someone and get their thoughts, get their perspective, get them to help you through. Sometimes different hospitals have like an anonymous like reporting system as well. So if this thing's been going on for a while and you actually want to make it known that you're feeling quite hurt by whatever's gone on, then you can actually report this type of behaviour. And depending on how different hospitals work, different health services, you can actually contribute to them having meetings. And I think there's one system I know that, you know, you have like, if you get 3 anonymous reports or anonymous complaints, then that actually triggers like a meeting or something with one of their supervisors, and then if you get another one, then it goes further, and all these things. So yeah, don't think that if you're feeling this way, you're the only one and it's you who's the problem. It may actually be the other person. And that's not the first thing that junior doctors think about, especially when it comes from a senior colleague. They think that it's them, or maybe it's something else that's going on that might be the issue. And very, very tricky for those type of personalities that always want to please and do well and make things right and look up to people in positions of power or people who are more senior than them. Especially if you're trying to, say, get into a training program or to a specialty where that person is or works in. Can be tricky, but the best thing I say is to speak to someone. There are, of course, other things that I guess just make it easier, give you a whole much more positive mindset when it comes to everything. Just like little things, like, yeah, spending time to you know, for your hobbies and for your friends and for other stuff outside work, so it's not an all-consuming thing. If you're just doing one thing, whether it be work or not, and then you have a bad time doing that thing, if that's your whole shtick, then it's gonna ruin your day if that's the only thing that brings you joy. So having multiple different things is certainly one way of mitigating that. And, you know, if something bad happens, well, maybe you get to walk your dog at home, or maybe you got like a sports match to go to that night. Maybe you killed it at like the video game you just bought, and, you know, maybe you really wanted to go see a movie and stuff, and then you got to do that at the end of the day. You need to just like take your time, sometimes and actually, you know, waste a moment. Kings of Leon, what a good song. Love them. I was listening to them recently. Kings of Leon. So good. Alright. She's a bit aggressive, this car coming up. Very aggressive. Time to pick up a parcel from the post office. It might actually be my suture kit, which I'm planning to do a couple videos on. Crashing into plants, man. So we've got our little parcel here. Keen to see what it is. Should I open up here? Or should I open up at home? Why don't I just give you it? Oh, it is. Alright. This is what it's. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Alright, let's test this out, okay? We've got our little suture training kit, okay? It's even got like a little like roll pad thing that you can, I don't know, practice doing some proper wounds and stuff like that, which is exciting. Are the shops gonna be super busy right now? Potentially. I think I need stuff anyway. Alright, let's get to it. I think that's pretty much it we can say about, I don't know, survival tactics for a bad day, especially at the hospital. A lot of it will be situation dependent, but having your network is certainly one of the best ways you can get over that. And if you don't have a network, then you'll find a network, okay? And if you can't find one, then make one, or reach out, or reach outside of work as well. Speak to your GP, speak to like a psychologist, a friend, family member, either or. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're speaking to someone, that's the most important thing, I think, at the end of the day. Now let's work out what we're gonna have for dinner. I am not entirely against a takeaway. Did we get takeaway? No, you know what? Actually, last night this is the thing. Alright, here's the other thing about looking after yourself. Or maybe it's not really looking after yourself. Am I going to get hit by a car here? Sorry. There was like 6 or 7 cars banked up, all turning right. And I was turning and I couldn't see what cars were coming. But I thought, let's just slowly peek out. We'll wing it. And hopefully we end up okay. And we did. So yeah, last night I was driving home, probably left work just after 8:30, 8:45. We hadn't had much to eat all day, to be honest, and there is conveniently a Macca's about just under 20 minutes away from home. No, it's about halfway. It's a halfway point. So, like, I mean, I could have passed up a chicken snack wrap, and I was just a bit too peckish for it to slip away and drive past on the freeway. It's good though, because there's 2 Maccas that I could potentially go to. The first one is a very easy stop by. The second one is out of the way. So if I had passed the first one, I was definitely not going to the second one. It's too much of an effort to go through. Oh look, someone's doing, oh, is that like a kitchen? Oh, that's kind of cool. It's like a free like kitchen thing. So people just put food there, and then I think people go and grab it or something like that. It's like one of those libraries that people have where you can borrow books and then exchange them and drop off your own books. So we also need to get money from our salary packaging that they haven't transferred us, which I'm very annoyed about. I'm owed like a few $1,000s from the salary packaging company that they said they would pay me, and then they're like, oh, do this like whole thing, send us these like other receipts or whatever they need. And I did that like last week. Still nothing. So where's my money is the question. Let's pull in here. Go get some groceries. I can't actually remember what I need. No, I need granola. I need hummus. I don't know. I'll make it up. Make it up as I go. Maybe some chocolate as well. So, yeah. All right, let's get to it, and then let's get home and relax. So, we're back home. We've done our little messages for the day. It's about 6:30. We've had a nice, relaxing half day. It's been good. So we didn't get home too late. We got to enjoy ourselves, have a bit of time off. The one thing I really like doing is as soon as I leave the hospital, once everything's sorted out, is mute the chats on the WhatsApp. We have like a whole bunch of work chats where we, have to message and communicate with all our colleagues and everything. Just getting the incessant notifications on your phone is a way to stay way too connected to work. And one way you can actually just debrief and completely relax after you come home from work is literally turn off the messages. There will be someone at the hospital who can do the work, who can look after the patients. That's what cover doctors are for. That's what overnight doctors are for. That's what on-call doctors are for. Your patients will be taken care of. You can't look after them 24/7. Especially at a public hospital, you don't have private patients. You're not on call for them. There are people rostered to take care of those people for you. So the best thing you can do, to be honest, is literally not have it on your mind. And one way to just completely separate that is by turning off the phone, or if you actually keep using your phone like I do, just mute the chats that you're on, so you don't have to constantly get reminded about jobs for those patients. So if it's your half day, I think just take your half day, and you should respect that time. It's different when you are wanting to learn more or stay back and get really involved with the team and level up and everything like that. By all means, if there's an operation you want to watch and you have never seen before, or if you want to scrub in with a certain consultant or registrar to help you learn more skills, then do that, of course, and stay back at work even if you're not rostered. Having said that, there is a limit, I think, and you need to balance that with your overall well-being and time outside of work and other hobbies and everything, versus actually like getting good at the skill. Because if you hang around work long enough, you'll get good enough. I assure you that. And there are some people who may need a little bit more time to improve their skills and get good at that stuff, but I think if you do it long enough, you'll eventually get all the right skills. And some people will just be naturally a bit better than others, but I guess putting in the reps, putting in the practice does help. You always have to think, what's the cost, How much time do I want to spend doing this, and how much time do I want to spend doing other stuff, looking after yourself and, doing other hobbies and seeing other people and family and friends and whatever. So yeah, I think that's one of the good ways to separate yourself from work and separate home life from work life, which is a big thing, a big factor in your overall well-being. I guess the last point does sort of lead into how to actually get a good reference and make the consultants remember you. One of the best ways in surgery is to actually scrub in with them in the operating theatre, and it can be hard as a junior doctor, like a resident or an intern, because your main job is looking after the ward and ensuring that is all under control, so that the more senior doctors can go to the operating theatre and do that thing there, or it be clinic or look after new people coming in. So those responsibilities are mainly for an intern. The resident does that as well, but then can also start to transition and do more, you know, registrar-like jobs, you know. So they're transitioning, I think, the resident. I was speaking to one of my resis today and giving them some feedback, and I said, like, look, you're doing really good stuff. I mean, being a resident at the start of the year is essentially being an intern, but doing everything a whole lot faster and more efficient, and almost preemptively doing the intern things. So stuff like a discharge script, stuff like a discharge summary, the referrals, the outpatient follow-up, you know, charting those regular medications, doing goals of care forms, consents, you know, all that stuff that maybe an intern may not think about. There's a couple of things like goals of care forms and consent that interns probably shouldn't do, but you know, the other stuff that may be not as intuitive to an intern should now be intuitive to an early resident who has already had that year of like learning the system, learning their few rotations that they get bounced around between, and now they actually get a time to really get good at that skill. And then I was saying to that resident I was giving feedback to, once you get really good at that stuff and really hone those intern skills again, then you can start transitioning into the more registrar-like roles. And you can start going to clinic, you can start going to theatre, you can start holding the phone, doing procedures, you can start scrubbing in and essentially becoming more senior. And it's like a resident, once you get good at intern stuff, is just being a registrar with training wheels on. And that's the mindset I think most people should have with it, is because you shouldn't be waiting all the time to make decisions as a resident. You should offer plans and offer suggestions, solve basic problems by yourself, but for major things and for essentially most things, residents should be coming to their registrars or their senior doctors as well, like a fellow or consultant, with a plan, with an impression, and with already having done the assessment. Whereas an intern might say, hey, I've got this problem, I'm worried about this patient. That's good for intern. Bonus points if you do other stuff. But for a resident, you almost expect them to have assessed, given an impression, got the basic, you know, questions and everything like that. And then come to the registrar or another senior doctor and say, hey, this patient actually has this, I think we should do A, B, and C. And then you say, oh, actually that's pretty good thought, like let's do that. Or they can say, hey, I think this patient's a bit dry, I think they need some fluid, I've already charted up a bag, is there anything else you'd like me to do? And then you're like, oh, maybe we can add on this test and that test and just look out for their medications and maybe change a few things, which could be exacerbating that. So residents come with a plan, and then they have an impression, and they essentially look for validation and confirmation of that plan or that idea or treatment or management plan from a senior doctor like a registrar or a consultant. That is one of the best ways you will actually get remembered by your senior colleagues and actually get them to give you a good reference, you know. There's like, it can be hard sometimes for residents to get good consultant time and interaction. In surgery, it's easy, just go to theatre and get them to, well, you can just help them out. I mean, especially if there's no one able to assist them in an operation, you can just go in there, hold a camera and make small talk for an hour or two. That's like an hour or two of one-on-one consultant time, which is, you know, sort of unparalleled, you know. You can do something as simple for them as writing up the operation note under their supervision, or charting up some medications. If there's a specimen that's going to be taken for the operation, you can write out the specimen pathology request form, or order the imaging request if there's like an II or something like that. You can see the patient preoperatively, make sure they're consented, make sure all the other things are done. You can help them out by doing time out and asking them what antibiotics they want for the case before the patient goes off to sleep, and doing all those things. help set up the patient in the operating theatre, help get them on and off the bed, everything like that. So essentially, the main thing is to help out that person as much as you can, and then like you just solve their problems for them. And oh my god, solving people's problems for them essentially makes them appreciate and almost feel like they owe you one. So if it's the same thing as, like, just, I don't know, like, say you called in, yeah, actually, I'm trying to think of a good example, but I guess, say a simple one, like you were gonna go to the cafe to buy a coffee, and then you forgot your card or you left your wallet upstairs, and your friend next to you says, "Oh, I got you this one," and just buys you the coffee. And then, without even expecting anything in return, you want to buy that person a coffee the following day or the next time you guys get coffee together, and you feel like you owe them something. So when you do something for someone else, you almost create this difference where they feel like they need to repay you in some way, even if it is that person who's more senior. Like, especially if you're a junior person doing something to help out a more senior person, you want, as a more senior person, to show that junior that you appreciate them. So I guess it's something as simple as when the residents and interns sort out the patients on the morning round, you buy them coffee to say thanks, and almost it's just like the hospital hierarchy sort of thing. You want to say thanks for doing all this admin job and making us look good, I guess. We were once there and we did that as well. So we know exactly what it's like, and that's just a small way to do it. For a consultant, sort of way to get recognized is seeing one of their patients in clinic, seeing one of their patients before the operation started, confirming different things that they would usually ask before an operation. Sometimes they were, like, a patient might be on blood thinners, or they might be on diabetes medications, and if you just go and see the patient 20 minutes before and triple check that they've stopped all their meds, and you tell the consultant, hey, just clarifying, this patient has stopped all their medications as appropriate, like, that might be a good way just to make sure, well, it might just be a good way to tell them that you're actually interested in this case and you're invested and you actually know the patient, Alternatively, if the patient hadn't stopped their blood thinners, you can come to the consultant and say, hey, I know this patient is going ahead today, but they actually took their morning dose of apixaban or rivaroxaban or some other anticoagulant this morning. I actually don't think this case can go ahead. Or do you still want to go ahead with this case if they've taken that? And then they can be like, well, actually, no. Like, if no one actually clarified that, then that might have been a big issue in the operating theatre. So it's important to, like, do these things, dot the I's and cross the T's. There's been a fair few patients that I've seen over the course of my very short time as a doctor, where patients have been cancelled on the day of the surgery because they haven't stopped their right medications, or they've taken other medications that they shouldn't have, for a number of different reasons. Maybe it was poor communication, or something got missed along the way, but the main thing is that it gets picked up in the end. And I guess, if you can do that and tell the senior doctor that, hey, you found this, they're going to appreciate, although it's going to be frustrating for them, but they're going to appreciate that what you did was essentially help them out and find out the answer. So just little things like that. I think one of the other easy ways is, like, seeing a patient in clinic, and especially if it's a tricky one, you can actually run the patient by the registrar in a different room, talk about the patient, get a plan from the registrar, and then actually, with that plan, after you've seen that patient in clinic, present that same patient to the consultant. And now you actually seem way more senior than maybe you are, because you're presenting a plan that the registrar is happy with, that maybe you may have not thought of before. So when you say, hey, I think this patient needs this operation, they've failed medical management, I think I should consider booking them in for that. And then you can tell the consultant, hey, I've never consented for this procedure before. Are you happy for me to do it, or do you want to come and have a chat to them and fill out the paperwork, or would you want someone like another registrar or a different senior doctor to go do that? And I guess just presenting them with like a solution to a problem is less work for them. You don't want to give them information, just blurt out information, and then they have to sort it out. That's why the best way to talk to people in the hospital, or just in people in general, is like clarify the reason why you're speaking to them in the first place is. It's the same reason why when I ring up someone for a referral, or, you know, even just the radiology department or the pathology department, I like really clarify like why I'm calling them. If I'm speaking to a radiologist and I need some information, what I'm going to say is, hey, I'm Harry, I'm from this specialty. I just need some quick phone advice regarding a scan if you had time. They might say, hey, no, I'm busy as, anything. Let's give me a call back in 10 minutes. Or they might say, yeah, it got to be quick, but I think I'm just reporting this case now. Is this the one you're talking about? Or maybe they might say, yeah, sure, go ahead. And then just because you've clarified the situation that you're inquiring about, the other person now knows how long that's going to take, and they can gauge the level of importance and essentially triage that amongst all the other stuff in the day. It's the same way, like if I get called about a patient, if I'm on call and someone calls me and says, hi, I've got a patient, blah, 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 and just starts going into the story without me even responding, I'll just stop them and say, hi, who's calling? What's the question? Is this a referral? Where are you calling from? You just need to, if you tell me that information, then I can say, all right, go ahead. Give me the story, or let's have some details, or I'm actually with the patient at the moment. Can you call back in a few minutes time? That's super, super important. So show respect to the person on the other end of the phone, and like with a consultant, don't just blurt information at them. Say, hey, I've actually got a patient I've seen in clinic. Can I discuss the management plan with you? Or, hey, do you have time to chat about a patient I just saw? I just want to run the plan past you. Or if you're not too sure, you can just say, hey, so-and-so, I've just seen this patient. I'm not sure what the best thing is to do. Can I run the story past you and get help with a management plan? Then they know, like, do they just have to listen and agree or disagree with you? Or do they have to like actually listen, probe, and suggest more things for you to do? I don't know. I think that's just like the clearest way of getting good information out of someone, and essentially showing them that you're thinking systematically, logically, and in a good framework. And that's the only thing I think that people care about junior staff doing, is being safe, being systematic, thinking in a framework, escalating when appropriate. You do that, you cannot go wrong. So, and I guess just in terms of general communication skills, people like to know what people are talking about. They don't want to have to think about it for themselves. That's why people really understand simple language and like when people talk in such simple language, because they can easily understand without using much brain power. Yeah, that's why I think if you can really, really understand a topic, if you can simplify it into everyday language that even a 10-year-old can understand, or a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 5-year-old can understand even, So, yeah, that's one of the best ways, I think. But yeah, anyways, it's getting dark. I think I'm gonna have some dinner and then chill out for the night. Let's get to it. Or I might play around with my suturing kit as well, so stay tuned for maybe that video coming up. I'll show you what it's like. Alright, bye.